George
Oh, you
Lucas
reckon?
murders someone.
Murders.
You want the original cut? Well, this is what I'll do to you.
GL, baby.
What the? Oh, god dang it, son of a bitch. If I find out who wrote this prompt, I'm going to find you. I am going to find you, and I'm going to hurt you. Not really. I was just trying to be funny. So, one of the most, like, I wouldn't say terrifying, but definitely one of the more, like scary, like instances I've had at a gas station was I literally, like, I was driving, and I pull off on this exit, and everything else is dark. Except for this one gas station. Mm-hmm. Little rinky-dink gas station, middle of nowhere, and it was open 24 hours. It had that on its sign and everything. I walk up, and I go to the machine, and I try to run my card, and it says, please see cashier, and I'm just like, all right. I walk in, nothing. No one. Just dead. Completely. Yeah. Just like nothing going on. No one behind the counter. I didn't hear anything. There wasn't even music playing through the intercom, and I was just like,
I feel like I'm about to die here.
And I was just like, how far to the next gas station do I gotta go? And I'm just like peering around the like aisles and everything. It's like, are they restocking? They didn't hear me come in or anything like that. And I am just like, okay, I guess I'll just go to the next gas station. And as soon as I go to walk out the door, all of a sudden, someone is at the door coming in right as I get there, right as I turn around and I see it. And I see the person standing there, and it literally, I just like, oh, Jesus. And the person's just like, peers in, is like, you need gas? Like, yeah, pump number 3. Yeah, pump number 3. And they're like, all right then, how much you need? I'm like, can I get 20? He's like, all right. And he runs the card and everything. And I'm just like, so where were you, man? And he's just like, oh, I was out back taking a shit. I'm like, oh.
I was gonna say,
oh, y'all have a bathroom here? He's like, nope. Oh. Okay. Cool. So 20. He's like, you're good. I'm like, okay. Filled up I put the gas in my car, and I got out of there as fast as I fucking could. I was just like,
see, I was gonna say that the third shift worker was probably in the bathroom, because like I've worked third shift gas station before, and I was like, that's where I would assume they are, because you're not allowed to go in the freezer during third shift. And I didn't expect that they just didn't fucking have a bathroom. It's kind of fucking gross.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a necessity for a gas station, but
I guess, I don't know.
well, you remember last time Oxy was here, she was telling us about her experience at the gas station where that guy tried to take her. He's like, where are you going? She was like, home, and fucking slammed his head in the door.
Ow.
Like he'd like got in her door, like, you're coming with me.
Where you go? Nope.
Yeah. You don't fuck with Oxy. Like,
yeah, she's Italian. She can be mean. Very mean.
I ain't gonna fuck with her.
I
She
wouldn't.
can kick my ass. I bet she'd kick your ass if she wanted to.
Probably. I don't know.
Like, there's more fights.
I'm a big dude.
Yeah, but I think she's probably stronger than she looks.
Oh, she's strong.
Yeah.
I know she's strong. It's just, I don't know. I think there's just too much mass. I think she'd try to pick me up or something like that, and I'd just be like, nah, this ain't happening. And I'd like go dead weight, just like a dead body flop, and just be like, you ain't lifting me.
I surprisingly don't have any weird stories from working third shift at a gas station. I didn't work there that long.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
2 or 3 months, and then I was like, I don't really want to do this. I feel scared all the time. Because I was just an anxious person. So, and this gas station I worked at was in like the middle of nowhere. Mm-hmm. So I was like constantly nervous about it. Like someone was going to come in there and do something to me. But like, it happens. I also have a thing where like driving, I'm sure one of these videos will have something to do with it. Have you seen Wrong Turn?
Multiple times, yes.
I don't know which one this is from, but like the car is driving down the road and they like shoot out the tire or their spikes or something, and like they strand these people. And I think about that shit all the time. Like at night, if I'm driving by myself and I'm on a road I don't know, or like it's out in the country, I'm like, damn, they're about to get me any second now. Someone's gonna shoot out this tire and I'm gonna be gone. I'm gonna fucking die. And like that's how my brain works. But that isn't so crazy that it couldn't happen.
It could.
Like, I feel like that's a valid fear.
It is, which is again why
things are only scary to me if they can actually happen. And so, like, for example, when I was younger, The Unborn was a popular horror movie that came out.
I remember that one.
That movie didn't scare me because there were a lot of conditions that lady had, like something with her eyes and something else that I didn't have. So I was like, there's no way this is going to happen to me because I don't have this, and this. So it's not scary. Wrong Turn. Anyone could fucking shoot out my tire.
Good, yeah.
Like, that's scary.
Pretty scary. Not going to lie.
I don't know. That's why I don't think like anything is scary. Because they have to make it very specifically something that could happen to me. And then I'm afraid.
Oh, God. Well,
that's called anxiety, everybody.
Yeah. Well, we have Llama Arts here, who has done some animated horror stories. So we're going to react to 3 of them. First one we're going to react to is one called True Gas Station Horror Story. Let's go ahead and get this up on screen. Let's give it a watch. Here we go.
One night last summer, 2 of my friends, Sam and Jake, convinced me to sneak out with them and drink. We were all bored, just looking for something to do. We decided to go for a walk to a local gas station that was open 24 hours a day. The walk there was pretty uneventful. We talked about random topics and drank a couple of beers. Once we got to the gas station, Jake had to use the bathroom. When he was in the bathroom, there was a dirty, sketchy guy in there. Jake struck up a conversation with this guy. It was pretty normal, except when the guy asked why he was out so late, and if he was by himself. Jake brushed it off, as the guy was just trying to tell him to stay safe. We bought some snacks, and we noticed the guy following us around, while he was talking to someone on his phone. We left soon after, and on the way back, we sat on the side of the road and talked for a while, as we drank some more. It was pitch black by now because there are no street lights in the area. We saw a car coming down the road, which was no big deal. We sneak out pretty often, and we've never had any real problems. Cars usually just drive by. This time was different. The car spun around in the road and pulled up right next to us on the street, and 2 guys got out. We ditched the beers, got up, and sprinted down the street. Jake and I hid behind an RV, while Sam hopped a fence. The 2 men looked dirty, like they hadn't showered in days. We watched the 2 guys for a little while, which is when we noticed that one of them had a gun in his hand. They looked in our direction for a few minutes before they got back into their car and drove off. Jake and I looked for Sam, but we couldn't find him, so we decided to head back home. We thought we had lost them, but on the way back we turned a corner, and those same guys were sitting in the car, waiting there. We ran through the alleyways and backyards until we lost them. Every few minutes, we saw the car driving slowly down a street or alleyway in the distance, and we would hide. Eventually, we made it back, and Sam messaged to tell us that he got followed by a different car, but he made it home safe. It's been almost a year since that night. We're always more cautious when we go out, and Sam still has nightmares about being abducted. I don't know for sure if the guy from the bathroom had anything to do with it, but we believe that he's somehow connected to it.
Damn.
See, that's scary, because that could happen.
Yeah, it can. Abductions happen. That's still a common thing that does happen quite a bit still.
In this area, the new shopping center is apparently pretty notorious for it right now.
Jesus.
The Pinnacle. It's like, I keep seeing shit about abductions there. Or like sex trafficking and everything.
That's fucking awful.
And we live in like a small town, so
Yeah, we do.
I can't imagine like in the big cities where it goes unnoticed for the most part.
Oh yeah, and honestly, that stuff like that is where it would scare me the most. There was actually a movie that came out not too long ago that covered the topic pretty well, but critics said, "Oh, it was unrealistic. It was very unrealistic." But then they actually like talked to like experts who dealt with that field, and they're like, "No, this is actually how it goes. This is actually what fucking happens." And the critics were just like, it still feels unrealistic. It just doesn't tell the story right. It was
Like they know fucking anything about it.
And I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's a movie called Brooklyn's Finest, and it's
I
about.
haven't seen it, but I should.
It's basically there's one cop. He's like getting ready to go into retirement, and his entire career he's just skated by, just like doing the bare minimum, just so he can collect pension. But his last night on the job, he witnesses something, and he's just like, and he wants to go the normal route of just like, just let it go,
It's your last night. Who cares?
it's your last night,
Yeah.
you got to do it. And he's just like, fuck it, and he follows the rabbit down the rabbit hole, and he discovers just how sickening the underbelly is, and he winds up like getting in the middle of this trafficking thing, and it's actually pretty like disgusting how deep it goes.
Yeah.
But yeah, and a lot of people said it was just for shock value, and it's just like, no, these were actually like stories taken from detectives who came across it, and it's just like, shit's real, guys.
And it's kind of
It's
fucked
real.
up, but like as humans, I think we want to, and we're curious to see really fucked up shit. Like, there's a reason why there are people that have like, there's like a gore subreddit, or there used to be, or there's a reason we like to watch thriller and horror movies. Like, you almost are so curious about that stuff.
Yeah,
It's kind of fucked up, but like,
it is kind of fucked up.
but we all watch it and shit. Like,
Well, here's my thing on it. I want to be prepared for what's out there in the world. I don't want to glorify it. That's the one thing that
that's
is done
my
a
problem
lot.
with it. Yeah.
I don't want it to be glorified. That's just like where they talk more about the serial killers instead of the victims. I have a problem with that. Because
Yes,
the
like
victim,
no one fucking knows who Jack the Ripper killed. We just know about Jack the Ripper.
exactly.
Like,
That's my problem. And yeah, we can talk day and night about how this serial killer, he's one of the most intriguing individuals, and I'm just like, what about the people that he like maliciously murdered? That's just like, I know everyone talks about, when people talk about Charles Manson and everything, and the only one that they remember is Sharon Tate.
yeah.
There were like 4 other people that died because of that son of a bitch.
Related, I promise.
Go ahead.
Last week, I think it was the day after recording, I was so mad that I didn't find out during recording. Did you get the update on Zodiac?
No.
They found out who it was. Google it, if you don't believe me. They identified the Zodiac killer. He died 3 years ago. They matched up scars on this guy's head with like scars from the sketches and descriptions and everything.
Oh, for God's sake.
And also, there were Facebook posts from before he died, that his friend had called him Zodiac in. Like, this friend just fucking knew his friend was the Zodiac killer. Like, look up like the Zodiac killer Facebook. I'm talking to them, not you. The Zodiac killer like Facebook. He had a friend that had posted about it, and like
Gary F. posts.
there were hints. He was a like really big. He would post reviews of albums and movies online, and like, he watched the fucking movies about him goddamn self, and he had like commented on another serial killer's movie and been like, not good, like kind of lame. Like, it's fucked up, but they figured it out. Because of some scars, and I think there was something else. And then when you look into the Facebook post and his like previous post online and everything, it's fucking crazy that we didn't figure it out sooner, really.
Yeah.
Like, I honest to God think that if I had looked into it, I would have found it out, because like, you go to this post that's like, did they ever identify the Zodiac killer? And it's like on Reddit, and someone goes, has anyone looked into this guy's name? And like, if you looked it up, his friends were calling him Zodiac on Facebook. He looked like the sketches. Like, I would have totally been like, yeah, that's fucking him. Like,
Gary F. Post.
Gary F. Post. That's fucking crazy. It happened like the day after or when I got home from recording last week, and I was like, damn, that would have been cool. We didn't get to talk about it, and now we have an opportunity to. But yeah, like, I don't know who he killed. I just know about Zodiac because no one talks about his victims. It's kind of fucked up. I did actually read about them all last week when that came out, but
There you go. I know that a lot of people were saying Arthur Lee Allen was the Zodiac killer.
What's funnier is that this guy was alive to see everybody accusing Ted Cruz.
No, that was a meme that was passed around on Reddit. I remember that. Funny as hell.
But he
Jesus,
was alive
man.
for that. Like,
Yeah, exactly. It's just.
but like, I'm
Again.
serious, y'all. You should look into all the shit that came up after they identified the guy. Like the post from today is like the 13th, so like the week before. Shit's crazy. It is so fascinating.
Robert Graysmith, I remember him doing the. He was the one that did the Zodiac book.
All of the true crime white girl podcasts are screaming right now as soon as they identified Zodiac, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's fucking crazy.
Let's go ahead and get into this one.
I'm sorry, I felt like it was important.
No, that's a good one. I like that one.
I won't stay in Airbnbs, and I feel like this
It
is
was
where
a
it's gonna
summer
go.
ago. My family and I had gone to a cabin that most would use for a winter vacation, but my family wasn't like that. The cabin was located in the middle of the forest. There was no cell phone service, so, as you can imagine, I was pissed. My mom always complained to me about being isolated and confined to the comforts of my phone. I always found solace in my phone, since being around people made me feel irrational and just plain weird. My parents
Relatable.
never understood that. Anyway, my little sister is 6 years old and was playing around in the forest. She had gone a bit too far out of my sight, and I started to get a little worried. I called out her name, but got no response. I then went in the direction that she did and found nothing but a bloodied bow. My eyes widened as I frantically ran around looking for her. I found a blood trail that led into the deeper parts of the forest. I hesitated, but nothing was going to stop me from saving my sister. I followed the trail for as far as it went. After about an hour, the blood stopped at a hole. I debated whether I should go back and tell my parents, but I didn't think they'd believe me, even if I did say that my sister was missing. There's no denying my parents thought I was insane. Despite my fear, I jumped into the hole. I fell for what felt like forever. Then, I finally hit water. My face morphed into disgust as I stumbled through what I thought was a sewer, since there was no light. I looked up out of the hole and saw a tiny white dot. I started to walk around. There was crunching under my feet. I paid no attention to it since I thought it was some dead leaves or sticks that had fallen into the sewer. That was until I fell. Some unknown liquid had splashed all over me. I remembered that my phone was in my back pocket, and I pulled it out and shined it on myself. Time seemed to slow down as I realized what I was walking in. It was a river of fresh blood. The blood had absolutely soaked me. I held in a scream as to not alert any nearby creatures. I then ran through the connection of tunnels and refused to stop until I started hearing footsteps behind me. I stopped, turned around, and shined my flashlight around. The light from my phone landed on a distant figure. It looked so small, so maybe it was a dog or an alligator that had sneaked in. I stupidly started to move towards it, and as I got closer, the figure started to get clearer. I started to see that it wasn't a dog or an alligator. As soon as I realized this, I stopped in my tracks and stared. It looked like me. Its body was contorted. Their back faced towards the ground, and its head was turned right side up and faced towards me. Its legs were normal, but its arms were legs as well. It had jagged teeth, and it was chewing on what was left of my sister's head. Then, I saw my parents' head beside it. I stepped back in shock and fear. The mutant of myself charged towards me. In a state of panic, I tried to run away, but I slipped. I hit my head on the rock and passed out.
Just the heads?
Oh. He killed all of them.
So I thought these were all going to be true stories, and
This
like,
one, no, this one doesn't have true in the title, so.
so like 20 seconds in, it's like there was nothing but a bloody bow, and I went, well, that's fucking fake.
That, yeah.
And then like as it kept going, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, it's definitely
Yeah,
not
this
real.
definitely, yeah.
Okay. Like,
Yeah,
there's no way he was like
definitely.
came across a bloody. No, you didn't. Like,
It's like, I came across it, I shined it up, and it was a river of blood.
yeah. The more ridiculous it got, I was like, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But still, though, it was like, the imagery was pretty,
I like
pretty
the art.
terrifying.
I like the art style and things.
Yeah, yeah. Alright, here we go. The Playhouse.
We live on several acres in rural Indiana, USA. Our neighbors aren't too far apart, but we all live on a lot of property. On our properties, we have a lot of trees, and our neighbor doesn't maintain their property well, so a lot of it's overgrown. You know, a couple of fallen trees and a lot of downed branches. We knew the state of their property was probably because it was an older couple that owned the house and the property was vast. We have a creek separating our homes as well, but a small strip of their property is accessible from our backyard. Due to the overgrowth in trees, we weren't able to see much of their property when we first moved in the summer, and of course we didn't go onto their land because we didn't want to trespass. One night, my daughter and her friend were camping in the backyard and ran inside, swearing that they heard a kid laughing or crying in our backyard. I figured it was their imagination from too many scary stories while in the tent, but went out to investigate briefly just in case. I heard a faint noise coming from just beyond our property line. I moved the flashlight into the general direction and called out to whoever may be in the trees. The sound stopped. I decided it was probably just a couple of stray cats, but just in case, I had the girls set up the tent in the living room. The next day, after taking my daughter's friend home, curiosity got the best of me, and I decided to investigate the area by our property line. As I neared the line of trees, I saw a small path I had never noticed before. Since I knew my neighbors were too far and the trees were too thick, they couldn't see me on their property, so I stepped onto the small path. I walked slowly, looking down, watching for poison ivy and fallen branches. I wasn't too far in when I saw a dirty, broken kid's toy on the ground, wrapped in overgrown weeds. I looked up, and in the distance I saw a small, white shed-like structure. As I got closer, there were more and more toys scattered on the ground, some partially buried, all broken and dirty. Then there was barbed wire, and I could see the front of the shed and realized it was a large playhouse with a wooden alphabet decorating the outside. I was starting to feel uneasy. This playhouse was at least half a mile or more from the only house on the property. I stopped in my tracks, letting my imagination go a little, when I felt a tap on my shoulder. I must have jumped a foot off the ground, only to turn around and see that my daughter had followed me. Once my heart slowed down, I decided to get a closer look. There was more broken barbed wire fencing on the ground the closer we got. The window on the side was broken, and there was a hole in the roof. There was a broken train set, one a kid would be able to ride on. The front door had a white piece of wood set to lock someone in, not keep people out. At this point, my daughter was in full panic mode and begging for us to walk back to our house, but I had to at least look through the window or my mind would wander with all the possibilities of what could be in there. As I was stepping to the side of the shed, my daughter was following close behind. In her fear, she was paying more attention to me than where she was stepping, and she cut her leg pretty deep on some barbed wire that was hidden in overgrowth. I quickly glanced inside the window, only to see a partially dirt floor and broken wood, and a large wooden bench with a dark stain on top. I picked up my daughter, who was determined her leg was going to fall off. We left the neighbor's property, and I took her to the doctor to get a tetanus shot and get her cleaned up. That night after dinner, I let the dog out, but couldn't get her to come back in. I let her stay outside for a while and checked again a little later. Our dog still wouldn't come in, and I noticed she was standing by the path we took earlier. I grabbed a flashlight and her leash and headed out to her. She was pacing, whining, and sniffing around everywhere. I figured it was from the blood earlier, but she never ventured onto the path. Then, I heard the giggling of a little girl. I called out to the child, but there was no answer in return, just some rustling in the leaves. I ran inside with the dog to check on my daughter to make sure that she was still in the house. She was laying in bed, fast asleep. The next morning, I went straight to the Playhouse, but as I was approaching, something was wrong. The broken toys seemed to be in different places, and when I got to the Playhouse, my heart felt like it was a ton of bricks. All over the side of the Playhouse were children's drawings, in my daughter's blood.
Yeah.
Are you saying your daughter leaked out blood, that much blood,
Right.
where it could be used in art projects? That one, okay, the last two were more like fiction. They
were definitely fiction.
Yeah. Whereas the first one was pretty grounded in reality for the most part.
Which brings us back to the conversation I derailed earlier that was pretty much accurate, is that it's only scary if it's real.
Yeah. Supernatural can be good, but...
It can be entertaining, but it's not like I'm going to go home and... Well, that's not true. I totally think ghosts are out to get me all the time.
Fair enough.
It's not... I don't have proof that it can't happen, so it is a little scary with ghosts and stuff, really.
Yeah.
I mean... So that one's more of like the fun scary, though, as opposed to like getting your tire shot out by a wrong turn cannibal is not fun scary. That's just scary.
That's just scary, yeah. Super duper scary.
And it could happen to you.
It could happen to you. Okay, so yeah, that was Llama Arts with 3 stories there. Yeah, these were all pretty good. I mean, I love the art style. Llama Arts, again, just doing what they do.
It's cute.
And yeah.
Well, cute probably wasn't the appropriate word, but it is what I meant.
It is the word that you did use. Yeah. So, all right. I think that's going to do it, everyone. This, once again, was Llama Arts with the 3 stories. Thank you all very much for tuning in. And I guess until next time, everyone, signing off. I'm Nate.
I'm Quinn.
We will see you then. Peace out.